Students, we are discussing GK and the topic is personalities, which is quite important for any competitive exam. And personalities are based on current personalities, historical personalities, Indian personalities plus international personalities. Let us start with this. But what we have done these topics, and now we are on famous personalities. So let's go further. Now we are on personality Epicurus, a very interesting and philosophical man who emerged after Alexander the Great from the Greek. Epicurus in 4th century and 3rd century BC. What is Epicurism? The goal of life is peace of mind, as told by Buddha or by Confucius or by any great philosopher and teacher. But he also told how you can avoid the pain. It is a combination of going for peace and avoiding the pain. What it means is, this is Okacia, peace of mind, and aponia. If I put the red here, this is acacia, and this is aponia. Aponia means absence of pain. So we should not do anything which causes the pain. And then we should do the efforts so that we can be at peace. If we are at peace, we'll make everyone around us at peace. Achieved through simple living. The more you are grounded, the more you are simple, the more you are realistic, you will have better peace. Number 2, good friendship. First, friendship with self. Then people around you which you like and which you can trust and talk. Next is studying philosophy of life, philosophy of nature, philosophy of spirituality, philosophy of human being, philosophy of everything around us. Philosophy means understanding the thought process. Next is, we should be having a freedom from God, from the fear of the God and death. No need to fear the God and the death if you follow these things. Because at the time, people were told that God is not happy with you. He is not happy with you. Aaj bhi batate hain that He is not happy with you. You will be punished. So that means we had a fear and we have the fear. And second, the most fearsome thing is death. So how you can see death is a process of the life, not the end of the life. Now next is founder of Epicurism, holistic philosophy. What it means? It means he referred to the school of thought that developed after the death of Alexander. Alexander died in 323 BC at the age of 33 in Babylon, Iraq, Mesopotamia. After his death, and this focusing on individuals. So what Epicurism say? Focusing would achieve happiness. The individual should achieve the happiness and inner peace and good life. That should be the purpose of the life. Next, major teaching taught the highest good is the happiness. The more you are good with yourself, with others, the more the happy you are. Achieved through moderation. Everything should be done in moderate, in a peaceful way, in a rightful way, in a correct way, in an acceptable way. Next, friendship. Friendship with whom? Friendship with self, people around you, friendship with the nature, friendship with the spirits. Spirits means spirituality, and so on. Knowledge. Knowledge you should have, that what type of knowledge, how to live a good life. Every knowledge which is required to sustain in the life. Then have a freedom of fear. Should not have a fear. Every day we have anxiety. We have a stress of unseen, foreseen fears. That should not be there, according to Epicurus. And then avoid the pain, enchresia, rather than excessive play, player. Player doesn't mean that many people say Epicure means player, drinking, marrying, jo marzi karo. No. Simple living, simple thought, be grounded, good to self, good to others, be clear in your mind. School founded the garden of ethics in this. He founded a garden in which slaves and women were allowed. That was very radical at the time. Slaves were allowed to come in the garden, women were allowed to come to the garden along with all people. Then historical significance. His idea greatly influenced the philosophy and later Western thoughts. So Western thoughts are highly influenced by the Greek philosophers. And one of that Greek philosopher we are discussing is Epicurus. Next is, he is remembered as one of the most influential philosophers of ancient Greece. So that is the important points of Epicurus, who was a Greek philosopher who believed in pleasure of life and avoidance of the pain, as we have discussed these two both here. That was his philosophy. And he emerged immediately after the death of Alexander in 323 BC. So this is the all about Epicurus. Next personality is Aristotle, a great philosopher from Greece, who has influenced the world. He was a teacher of Alexander the Great. He taught Alexander the Great for 5 years on the invitations of Alexander's father. He taught him ethics, politics, warfare, diplomacy, logic, and so on. Who was teacher of Aristotle? Aristotle's teacher was Plato, a great philosopher. That was the reason that Aristotle studied in Plato's school and understood the philosophy of Plato. Who was Plato's teacher? Socrates. Socrates. And Socrates learned his knowledge, his philosophy, knowledge about life, politics, warfare, diplomacy, negotiations, ethics from the streets, from the people around him. He learned from the street. He said, I am a student of a common man. So that was the lineage. And of course, Moses, who was almost existed around 1100 BC, also influenced Socrates or Socrates. Let us go in detail about Aristotle. Greek. He studied in Plato Academy for 20 years and was mentored by whom? Aristotle was mentored by Plato. But he taught Alexander the Great for 5 years. As discussed, he founded a school, became school in Athens. And he used to teach while walking in the parks, on the roads, on the streets, on the sides of the hill, valleys, and so on. That is the reason that he was known as peripatetics. That means the people who walk and talk and learn and convey and do the philosophical learning of life, ethics, politics, warfare, logic, reasoning, decision making, and so on. He is known as a founder of logic, logism, which comes even in competitive exam, part of reasoning. That was the reason that he is known as father of logics. He was a master of many subjects. He learned physics. He wrote so much on physics, biology, politics, ethics, poetry, metaphysics. Meta means beyond physics, beyond understanding of man, beyond the rationality, and called the first teacher. Ethics, eudaimonia. The goal of life is eudaimonia. That means flourishing, living well. living complete through virtue and reason, by virtue of deeds. And the second is that everything should be rational and reasonable. Next, golden mean. What is a golden mean? That is a middle between two extremes, courage and cowardness on one side, and cowardness and recklessness on the other side. That means there are two extremes. Courage is between cowardness and reckless. Famous work, Politics, Nicomachean Ethics, Politics, Metaphysics, Organ. Influence, his ideas influenced the Western science, philosophy, politics for 2000 years. Not only the Christians, but his influence is also on Arabic world, Islamic world. Known as father of political science, father of logic. So that was a contribution of Aristotle. So these are the important points on this page, and the topic is Aristotle, which is a famous, or which was a famous personality, part of GK. Now we will move to the next. His famous work, there are so many. He wrote almost 200 works, 200 masterpieces, but only 31 are available. The rest are lost. Book name, Nicomachean Ethics. It is on the name of his son. He said, what is highest good for humans? And he gave the answer, eudaimonia, flourishing, living well, and happiness through virtue. Three things. Flourishing is growing positively. You flourish when you live well, and then you become happy by your virtues. And then virtue is a habit. You become good by doing good again and again. Doing goodness is not one time. You have to be good every time. With yourself, with the people around you, even with nature, with everyone. Next is golden mean. Again, I've told you, between the two extremes, courage is between the cowardness and recklessness. What is between stinginess and wastefulness is generosity. Courage is between these two, and generosity is between stinginess and wastefulness. You need to have a balance in the life. Like, humans should use reason to choose the right action. There should be a reasoning, logic behind everything. Building moral character. Types of life. What type of life you should have? Or what type of life normally people have, society have. One is a life of pleasure. Few people live in pleasure only. Whatever they get, from where they get the pleasure, they live that life. Second life is life of politics and honor. That I want power, I want money, I want honor, I should be respected, and so on. And third is life of contemplation. That means the highest life, seeking truth through reason. He said this is the highest life. So these are three types of life. One is life of contemplation, second is life of politics, and life of pleasure. What type of life you want to have. Then impact the Western ethics, law, leadership, philosophy, logic, reasoning, negotiation, diplomacy, decision making. Western world gives a credit to the Greek philosophers. So what we do in the West or in the world, some credit or good amount of credit goes to the philosophers like Aristotle, and then Plato, then Socrates, and other contemporary people of that age, including Buddha, Confucius, Taoism, and so on. So now we will move to the next personality, and we just discussed Aristotle, who was a teacher of Alexander, and Aristotle teacher was Plato, and Plato teacher was Socrates, and Socrates learned from a common man, from the real world, from the real life, and so on. Now we will move to the next. Pulchasian II. For exam, he was a Chalukyan king. This is the kingdom of Chalukyan. This is Kerala. This is Karnataka. So this is more of a Karnataka. Badami. Their capital was Vatapi. Father was Kirti Varman I. He was the greatest ruler of Chalukyan dynasty. याद की रखना पेपर कि he defeated Harshvardhan, who was the last Hindu king. Harshvardhan died in 647 AD, and during his lifetime, Harshvardhan attacked South India, Dakhan, want to go beyond Narmada, but was stopped by Pulkesian II. So Harshvardhan was defeated by Pulkesian II, who was a king of Chalukyan dynasty of Vatapi, Karnataka, Badami. So this was the first defeat by a South Indian king, and who gave defeat to the North Indian last Hindu king of North India, Harshvardhan. And Harshvardhan died in 647, and with his death, there was no one who can be called as the great Hindu king of North India. So that was his achievement. Historical evidence, this achievement was recorded in Ahole inscription. Ahole inscriptions by the court poet of Chalukyan court poet Ravi Kirti. So these are the important points. Next is that Pulkesian II kept diplomatic relations with the people and the kings and the powerful rulers of Persia and beyond that, and he died when he was attacked by Palwa invasion 642 AD or CE. So like this, these are the important points of Pulkesian II. याद की करना है कि he defeated Harshvardhana 618 AD, and the defeat was on the bank of river Narmada, and he was the greatest ruler of Chalukyan dynasty. And plus these achievements were recorded in inscription known as Ahole. Then it was being written by the court poet Ravi Kirti. Now we will move to the next. Muhammad Prophet. Sixth century AD. Born in Makkah, Saudi Arabia. A religious leader and great teacher known as Prophet. A great statesman. Founder of Islam, regarded by Muslims as the last prophet of Islam. Parents Abdullah, mother Aminat. First revelation revealed. It is said that Allah was revealing to Muhammad Sahib. What? Revealing by Allah through angel Jibril in 610 AD in the cave of Hira near Makkah, where he got the message from Allah. Major achievement, he united Arabian Peninsula under Islam and became the first Muslim community. So according to Muhammad Sahib, there is only one power known as Allah. Holy book, Quran, revealed to Muhammad Sahib. Next important point, Hijri era. Muhammad left Makkah and went to Medina in 622 AD, known as a Hijri era, Muslim era, 622 AD. Makkah to Medina, making the beginning of Islamic calendar. And he died on 8 June in Medina in Saudi Arabia. So that was the great contribution of the great Muhammad Sahib. So we will move to the next. Captain Cook, who was an explorer of British. No need to remember this, but only thing is you should know this is 18th century. He did the greatest explorer of the world, who went across Pacific oceans during his 3 voyages with the Captain Cook, and he explored. He discovered Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii Island, and other areas. So these was his discoveries, and that led to 3 major voyages when he went abroad, and he died at Hawaii when he was killed during his 3rd voyage. So this is all about Captain James Cook from England, who discovered Australia, New Zealand and Hawaii. Now we will move to the next. Nicholas Corpus, a Polish, Poland, astronomer, mathematician, physician, and father of modern astrology, and who was able to give a theory heliocentric. That means sun is the center of the universe, or sun is the center of solar system. Like sun, center of solar system and earth. Then he died. There's no need to remember this. So these are the important things which you should know, that he's from which country? He was a Polish, from Poland. Now we will move to the next personality. Columbus discovered America. Italian navigator, explorer, who reached America in 1492, wanted to discover India, but he reached in Northern America. Because Europe was expanding after the Industrial Revolution, after the Renaissance movement, after the awakening of Europe, when everything was developing very fast, so they were looking for new land. So they discovered Australia, as discussed by James Cook, New Zealand, Hawaii Island, then North America. 4 voyages. Now he wanted to discover India, to do the trade with India, particularly the spices, the cotton. But he, instead of that, he was able to land in an area which we call as North America in 1492, and he was from Italy, and the name is Christopher Columbus. He connected the old world which means that already civilization was existing, like in Europe, in Asia and so on, and the new world was like North America, and earlier it was discovered by James Cook, Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii Island and so on, and ultimately he died in Spain. So these are the contributions of Columbus, who wanted to discover India, but he landed in the land which you call as North America. Now we are discussing Alexander Fleming, Scottish physician, microbiologist. He was a microbiologist and he was very good in pharmacy. He discovered penicillin, very important. By the discovery of penicillin, that man's health or human race health became better. You know, penicillin is used for antibiotic, saving millions of lives. Awarded the Nobel Prize of Physiology or Medicine in 1945. Joined with this man and this man. Earlier discovered the antibacterial enzymes, and he died in England. No need to remember this. So these are the important points of Sir Alexander Fleming, who discovered penicillin. Now next. Name is Sigmund Freud, father of psychoanalysis. Austrian, neurologist, psychologist, father of psychoanalysis, developed the theory of psychoanalysis, that how to study unconscious mind, introduced the concepts of id, ego and superego. Then he wrote the books Interpretation of Dreams, that why we get the dreams and how dreams are influenced by our day-to-day life and thought process and vice versa. And then ego, that how much ego is required to grow. Then id, then civilization and its contents. His theories have a profound influence on psychology and psychiatry and literature and modern thought about human thinking process and behavior and personality. Died in this, no need to remember this, but he was a great philosopher known as the father of psychoanalysis. Next, Adolf Hitler. You all know the man who initiated the World War II. He was radical, He was from Germany, but born in Austria, a dictator, a chancellor of Germany, and he became the head of Nazi Germany. And World War II happened because World War I agreement was not acceptable to Germany. And it was not properly framed as a balanced document. Germans were humiliated. So Hitler took the benefit of that and started conducting meetings and conferences and was able to build up his influence to regain the power to show the supremacy in the Europe. Leader of Nazi party. He invaded Poland and started the World War II, but ultimately lost the war in 1945. And Holocaust, you know that millions of Jews were killed by Nazis. A very unfortunate, very unfortunate thing which happened in Europe, in other part of the world. The Jews were put to the gas chambers and killed, and that was very unfortunate for the human race and particularly for the Jews, and died on this when he was invaded by whom? Allied forces. When Russians were able to reach to his door, then he had nothing but he committed suicide. It is said that he died by committing suicide. So that was the Hitler, not a man who added value, rather he divided the world and millions of lives were lost. Now Dr. Zakir Hussain, educationist, economist, politician, third president of US and first Muslim president, very important. Earlier he was vice president. Earlier he was vice president, paper question aa janda. Who was the first Muslim? Who was the first vice president, then president? Played an important role in the Jamia Millia Islamia University and awarded the Bharat Ratna, but he died in office. Again, very important. He died in 1969. So that was the important points of Dr. Zakir Hussain. He was a vice president, then became president, then first Muslim president, then he was an educational economist, and he died in the office and awarded the Bharat Ratna in 1963. So these are the important points of Dr. Zakir Hussain, and he was third president. Keep in mind. Malala Yousafzai was that she is from Pakistan, Swat Valley, Pakistani educational activities. She got the Nobel Prize at a very young age. She was the youngest to get the Nobel Prize in 2014, along with Kailash Satyarthi, who is Indian, for the suppression of children. She stood for the children and for the girl child, so that girl child and children can take proper education in Pakistan and in Taliban occupied area of Afghanistan. At that time, historical significance, she was threatened with the assassination attempt by the Taliban, but she was able to survive, and she wrote a famous book, I Am Malala, and this is her autobiography. And she founded a Malala Fund to help the girl child and the poor to get education and to set up a democratic system in the areas where Taliban was dominating. So now we will move to the next personality. Prince Bismarck, normally Prince Otto Bismarck, from Germany. Germany, originally Prussian, certain area of Germany is known as Prussian area. Statesman and this. He was a man of blood and iron who unified Germany. The modern Germany is the contribution of Prince Bismarck. 19th century. He was the first chancellor of modern Germany. Unified Germany through successful wars against Denmark, Austria, France. He was a great army commander, statesman, and nationalist. He laid the foundation of modern Germany and shaped the European diplomacy through his politics, real politics. And this is not required. So that was a contribution of Prince Bismarck, who is known for policy of blood and iron. ये करना ही करना है, जर्मनी को स्ट्रॉन्ग करना ही करना है, जर्मनी को एक करना ही करना है. That was his philosophy and the thought, known as man of blood and iron chancellor. and became the first Chancellor of Germany. Thank you, students. And if some personality is left, we will do in the next series. Thank you.